definitely wanted to talk to this man because I got the Steelers on the brain. They're going to be a fascinating team over the next several weeks, certainly in the final throes of the Kevin Colbert administration of shopping for the groceries for Mike Tomlin and the Rooney family, and from the man who's been covering this team forever and a day, now from The Athletic, covering the Pittsburgh Steelers, Ed Bouchette, back on the program. How you doing, Ed?
I'm great, Rich. Thanks for having me.
You got it. Thanks for taking the call. So what do you make of Kevin Colbert talking up Mason Rudolph's 5-4-1 record and how that's as a backup, and looking forward to seeing what's next for him? What did you make of that, Ed?
Not a whole lot, Rich. I mean, he's the only quarterback they have under contract right now. And in Kevin's words, if we started the season right now, he'd be our quarterback. Well, he'd be their only quarterback. That doesn't mean he won't be. They have Dwayne Haskins. They're going to tender as a restricted free agent, and then they'll have a couple others. Where those others come from is the big question, whether it's going to be a veteran in free agency, maybe some kind of small trade for a veteran and or a draft pick. Those are the looming questions.
What about the idea of the big swing, the big swing, in case Rodgers does want out of Green Bay, in case there is some smoke in Seattle? Who knows about Kyler Murray's Instagram page? I mean, what about the big swing going out the door for Kevin Colbert? What about that one?
No. I'm pretty emphatic on that. I mean, it doesn't mean it won't happen, but I don't see it. They have more needs than that, Rich. Aaron Rodgers coming in here is not going to make them a Super Bowl contender, and that's what they always want to be. They're not going to be one either way this year. They have too many other things. They don't have an offensive line, not a very good one right now. Their defense, there's a lot of questions involved there. They have some really good top-notch guys, but not enough of them. And even at wide receiver, they're not very good. So they have a lot of holes, and filling it with a great quarterback, an aging quarterback, and I hate to use aging with Aaron, but that's what he is not going to help them.
What about Deshaun Watson? What do you think that possibility there might be?
They're not going to touch him, Rich. They wouldn't touch him if he was a free agent and came free.
Even if he has settled everything?
Well, settling it and whether it was true or not are two different things, right? I just don't see that happening. I mean, we shouldn't even be talking about it because there's no chance.
That's how much of a no chance it would be. Wow. So what did you then make of Tomlin talking about at some point, I forget when it was, I think it might have been his press conference heading out of the season after the loss in Kansas City, about mobility at quarterback and the value of that. What about that?
Different kinds of mobilities, Rich. There's Lamar Jackson mobility, and there is Ben Roethlisberger mobility. You wouldn't call Ben a running quarterback, but he certainly could move around in his prime, take off once in a while when necessary, but he was more able to elude pass rushers, and I think that's more what Mike Tomlin meant, is something along those lines rather than just getting this quarterback who's going to run for 800 yards for you every year.
Ed Bouchette of The Athletic Pittsburgh here on the Rich Eisen Show. What about the draft? What are you hearing about a quarterback in the draft? The kid from Liberty appears every now and then on a mock draft for the Steelers to take. Do you think that's entirely possible, Ed Bouchette?
I would say anything's possible, but I don't see them drafting that guy in the first round. I think if Kenny Pickett were available to them, they drafted number 20, that might be a case. But other than that, I don't see them going in the first round for a quarterback. And I think they'll either muddle along this year with Mason Rudolph and or Haskins and or someone else as a veteran, and then getting a quarterback next year, or I don't think they're going to get Kenny Pickett. That's the guy I think they would want.
So there's no sense at all of trying to make a big splash, a flashy play at quarterback. I know that is against type, if you will, but, after having Roethlisberger for as long as they had him and just going and because this division, Ed, I don't need to remind you, but, I'll just throw it out. I mean, there's Lamar twice a year and Burrow. You see what Burrow has turned into. I mean, and depending on how Baker shakes out in his 5th year in Cleveland, the Steelers could easily be dead last on the quarterback race within this division in 2022. And I don't know how that would sit with Steeler fans. You obviously would know better. So I'll just throw that out at you without a question for a response.
Yeah, but like I said, Aaron Rodgers isn't going to change things. I mean, they may have a great quarterback, but it's not going to change their standing in the division, I don't think. Plus, what do you have to give up to get him? He's not a free agent. And they do have a lot of more salary cap room than they're used to, but they need to use that in their offensive line, their defensive line, their inside linebackers, their secondary, their wide receivers. It's just too much. I just don't see it, Rich.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.